A lot of you have been asking me about the FDA approval of Addyi last week for use in folks in menopause. For some of you with low libido, whether you're in menopause or not, medications can be part of the conversation. So let's break down the medications that are available, how helpful they are if they're right for you, and what actually sits behind low libido, really for most of us, whether we're in menopause or not. The first thing we need to know is that these drugs are not a pink Viagra. The ones that are available, which I'll talk you through, neither of them do anything for arousal or making sex feel better. Neither of these drugs are going to do anything to make bad sex better. While there are two drugs on the market that have had some success for some people, they are not guaranteed and they don't work for everybody. Information and talking about this with your doctor, which I am not a medical doctor, but I am a sex therapist. Working together with a sex therapist and a doctor is a good idea. So what is low desire? It is a lack of interest in sex, basically. And it happens to a lot of people a lot of the time. For some people, it's a long-term thing. For others, it's a life stage thing. There are lots of reasons that you can experience low libido, especially if you're someone who has been, relatively interested in sex in the past and you've had a temporary setback. For others, it is kind of just how you are. Sex has never been of interest to you and you've never really liked it. These medications are not a magic pill, and ultimately, whichever path you take, it still needs to be part of a much broader holistic understanding and a much broader holistic approach. So Addyi is the pill. It's an oral medication, and you take it. Addyi is the pill, and you take it in the evening, and you take it every day. One of the downsides of Addyi is that you can't drink alcohol on it. Addyi works on the neurotransmitters in the brain associated with motivation and, by association, desire. It doesn't do anything for arousal or for lubrication. For people who have a long-term complicated relationship with desire, it might be helpful. Some of the downsides of Addyi is that it can take a long time for it to work. It's not instant. It must be taken every day, even if you're not having sex or maybe you're unpartnered. Side effects can include dizziness, nausea, and fatigue. And at best, the benefits have been shown to be pretty modest. Not that great, to be honest. The other product is an injection, a self-injectable called Vyleesi, and you use it at the time of sex. Well, not exactly in the middle of sex, obviously, but you use it sort of half an hour, 45 minutes before having sex. That does have a better track record. People who use it find it to be, more effective for arousal and for interest. The effects are temporary, but for some people, nausea can be a side effect, which can be a bummer. You would only use 1 dose a day, but you would only have up to 8 doses a month, so there are limitations with it. And it's not recommended for people with high blood pressure or heart conditions. Now, here is the real big piece of this to remember. These medications don't do anything for the interpersonal and relational aspects of sex, which for a lot of us, particularly women and non-binary folks who are impacted by menopause and hormonal changes sexually, for a lot of us, our motivations around sex tend to be interpersonal, whether we're in relationships or whether we're having hookups, whatever it is, our motivations tend to be more at the responsive end than the spontaneous end. That means context really matters for us. So if you're in a sexual situation, in a relationship, or, having hookups, and you, for whatever reason, are with partners who are not interested in your pleasure, if you're with partners who make you feel pressured or feel unsafe, or you are with partners who really just don't show any interest in you or your inner world or what sex you may or may not like, these drugs, unfortunately, are not going to do shit for you. So instead of asking yourself, which of these drugs should I be taking, it might be a more helpful question to ask yourself, what would my desire need in order for me to be able to access it more readily? And that is something you would talk to your partner about. Hopefully you have a partner who is receptive to hearing what you've got to say. This is also possibly something you would talk with a sex therapist or a sex coach about. And this is also a good time for me to mention that my book, Sex When You Don't Feel Like It, has come out now in a paperback, which is very exciting. You can order it at all the places that you order books. Buy it in your bookshop, local bookshop. If it's not in stock, ask them to get it, because that's fabulous for them and for you and for me, for all of us, because we don't want to buy it from who. This is what I have to say about libido drugs. They're fine. I'm not opposed to them and I'm not in favor of them, but I just need you all to make sure you've understood that the reasons you are experiencing low libido are rich and varied, and medication alone puts us in a position where we are at risk of over-medicalizing something that is often a social and relational issue in regards to why we have sex, what motivates us to have sex that is sex worth wanting.